Welcome to Grung TV, the entertainment hub for news, views, reviews, and gossip. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on your notification bell.
Welcome back to Grung TV. Three of the persons accused of involvement in the murder of a Trelawney woman last year are scheduled to reappear in court on Monday, February 22nd. This after three co-accused pleaded guilty to the crime earlier this month. Owen Irving, 33-year-old Tashana Young, and 24-year-old Brian Shelley, all accused of involvement in the murder of 36-year-old Tamara Geddes of Reserve District in the parish, are set to reappear in the Trelawney Circuit Court. Nadine Geddes, a Trelawney farmer, pleaded guilty to the murder of her sister Tamara in the same court on Monday, February 8th. Nadine's two daughters, one of whom is a minor, also pleaded guilty in relation to their aunt's killing. Sentences are to be handed down on the three family members on Friday, February 26th. When the matter was called up 2 Mondays ago, the court heard that the files for Shelley, Irving, and Young were incomplete, and they were remanded in custody until Monday, February 22nd. Tamara was shot dead in her home by gunmen on Friday, June 19, 2020. Following months of extensive co-coordinated investigations across Trelawney, St. James, Westmoreland, and the corporate area, detectives arrested and laid charges against the sister of the deceased and her two daughters, 21-year-old Shanice Ruddock and a 15-year-old. Along with Shelley, 23-year-old Rexton Knox, both of Norwood, St. James, and Irving and Young, both also of St. James addresses. On Monday, February 8th, Knox, who pleaded not guilty, was released after the prosecution indicated that there was insufficient evidence to proceed any further against him. Reports from the Falmouth police were that on June 19 at about 8:30 p.m., Tamara Geddes was in her home with her daughter when a gunman entered the home, demanded money, and then shot the mother several times. The police were alerted and she was taken to hospital where she was pronounced dead. Her daughter, who was with her at the time of the attack, escaped unhurt. On Tuesday, July 14, Nadine Geddes, along with both of her daughters and Owen Irving, were arrested and later charged in connection with the murder of Tamara Geddes. The other accused persons were subsequently arrested and charged by investigators. A Jamaican traveler was arrested after being alleged found with cocaine in a pair of sandals at Miami International Airport in the United States. Investigators said the passenger, who arrived in the U.S. from Jamaica last week, admitted to have swallowed 28 pellets of drugs wrapped in tiny balloons. The United States Customs Border Protection, in statement, did not release the identity or sex of the Jamaican or the exact date of the arrest. During a baggage inspection, CBP officers discovered a white powdery substance and a tiny drug balloon or pellet concealed with a pair of sandals. CBP stated, adding that the items weighed approximately 1.3 pounds and field tested positive for cocaine. The statement added, upon questioning, the Jamaican traveler admitted to swallowing cocaine and was taken to a local hospital for an x-ray examination. The x-ray showed the presence of foreign objects, and the individual later passed 28 pellets testing positive for cocaine, CBP disclosed. In commenting on Jamaica's arrest, Miami International Airport's acting port director, Robert Del Taro, noted that swallowing drugs is an extremely dangerous method of concealment, and CBP officers are highly skilled at targeting smuggling attempts. It's important to deter this type of illegal activity, which can be fatal if a pellet bursts, he stated. It is not immediately clear when charges would be laid against the Jamaican. Two St. James men who pleaded guilty to lottery scamming related charges were fined a total of $700,000 and given non-custodial sentences earlier this month. Omar Holmes, Errol White, both of Lilliput, St. James, pleaded guilty to the offense of possession of identities information last month. According to a release from the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency MOCA, both men were sentenced on Friday the 2nd when they appeared in the St. James Circuit Court. Holmes was ordered to pay a fine of $300,000 with an alternative of 3 years in prison. Additionally, he was sentenced to 4 years in prison, suspended for 3 years with supervision. Wright was fined $400,000 with an alternative of 2 years in prison. He was also sentenced to 4 years in prison, suspended for 3 years with supervision. During a search of the premises, several paraphernalia and other devices used in lottery scamming activities were seized. Both men were subsequently arrested and charged with breaches of the law, Reform Fraudulent Transaction, Special Provision Act 2013 and taken before the St. James Parish Court. On Thursday, January 14, 2021, Holmes and Wright pleaded guilty to the charges against them. A man who was implicated in the murder of a Chinese businessman in St. Anne 3 years ago was shot dead in Philadelphia district in Brownstown in the parish on Saturday. The deceased has been identified as Laybert Piper, a vendor of Philadelphia district. He is said to be in his 50s. Reports said that the residents heard loud explosions coming from a section of the community sometime after 6 p.m. and alerted the police. On their arrival, law enforcers found Piper lying on the ground with a gunshot wound to the upper body. He was later pronounced dead at hospital. A motive for the killing has not yet been ascertained, but police investigators are ongoing. Piper, who was on bail at the time of his death, was one of 5 men who were charged with the shooting death of a Chinese businessman, Teng Feng Cheng. The 28-year-old businessman was reportedly shot in the head while he sat in his vehicle in his business place in Brownstown at about 3:45 p.m. on Tuesday, February 27, 2018. The other accused men charged with the murder are Cheston Morrison of Brownstown, Raymond Emmanuel, a taxi operator of Philadelphia District, Orandi Mott of Philadelphia District, and Vivian Campbell, a higgler of Bennett District in Orleans, St. Anne. Investigators believe Morris was the shooter, and Emmanuel is alleged to have transported the others, including Piper, on the day of the crime to commit a robbery. The police initially booked Mott, Campbell, and Piper for the murder on March 7, 2018. In April of that year, Morris, the main suspect, was charged with murder, conspiracy to murder, and robbery after having alleged fled the parish. He was held by the Manchester police in a targeted operation on April 6 at a house in Pipe District, Cristiano. The operation was in search of wanted men and migrant criminals. The final suspect to be held in late April that year was Emmanuel, who was also charged with murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and robbery. The case is presently before the St. Anne Circuit Court. With just 52 days gone in this year, Jamaica has already surpassed 200 murders. A total of 212 killings were recorded island-wide between January 1st and February 22nd. According to the latest statistics compiled by the police, this represents a 6% increase over the comparative period last year. Jamaica recorded just over 1,300 murders last year. The figures reveal, too, that shootings are up to 9% this year. According to the figures, a total of 189 shootings were recorded up to Monday, an increase of 15 when compared with the corresponding period last year. The increased killings and shootings come amidst the nightly curfew and other COVID-19 containment measures imposed by government, which has largely restricted the movement of citizens. The latest crime figures show, however, a 46% drop in reported rapes, an 8% decrease in reported robberies, and a 28% decline in reported break-ins.